let's get into the water landscape of Bangalore. So this is Bangalore district. Just imagine I drew a line here. Just imagine it's sliced into two pieces. So water that falls at this side of the Bangalore, eventually, whether it's rain or wastewater, pollutants from industrial pollution, from our homes, commercial establishments, anything makes their way through Rishabhavati, Suvarnamukhi, Arkavati, and eventually joins Cauvery here. The right side of the city drains completely into Dakshina Pinakini, which flows into Tamil Nadu and Bay of Bengal. There are two sources of water for Bangalore, but before we moved to Cauvery, we were actually relying on Hesarghatta. That was our source of water because we had a river passing by Bangalore, and until 1922 we relied on it. We sucked it dry. Then we moved to Tippagunanahalli, and our demand for water increased. So then we moved to the Cauvery in the 1970s, and we continue to just keep asking for more and more and more water from here. And this ceased to be a water source for us because of all the pollution from the industrial areas and the urban sprawl of Bangalore. So this is the source of water for us for now, for Bangalore, Shiva Anikat, Cauvery, 100 kilometers away. This is Yettinahole because Cauvery doesn't satiate us. So as a city, we are always thirsty for more water. So we go to Yettinahole, which is 280 kilometers away. Then we go to Sharavati. The talks are very, like you may see in the newspapers, every time the Liganamaki Dam comes up and they say, let's get water from there. That's 360 kilometers away. Then we have the Mekedatu, which is 90 kilometers away in the Cauvery Wildlife Sanctuary, and the noise about it is getting deafening. So what happens in Bangalore actually? So when we pump water from here, spending crores of rupees, about 1,450 million liters per day of water is pumped to Bangalore using power, which is again hydroelectric dams, which means again constriction of Cauvery. And we bring all this water here, and the rest of the water, because that doesn't satiate Bangalore. Just to give you an idea, 1,415 million liters of water is equivalent to water that can be put into 580 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And that doesn't satiate us. So we take water from underground, sometimes as much as 1,800 feet. Does it have uranium? Yes, it does, but we have no other options. So we go in and suck water dry from there, and all the wastewater. So they say typically about 80% of the water that we use ends up as wastewater. So that water is a precious resource. The National Green Tribunal and all over the world, they talk about using this water as a precious resource so that we can reduce our reliance on fresh water. That is damaging projects like these. But our city does not want it. During the last crisis, our city has stayed up saying, no, this water cannot come into our lakes, it's contaminated. But we are okay sending it to the hinterlands of Kolar and Chikballapura, and more projects are in the pipeline. Why is there this disconnect with the way we manage our water resources? Why is there this disconnect? So I wanted to just get your attention to, what is the problem with these projects? Why is it that we felt that we have to talk to you guys about this? I'll just take a little time to explain the landscape of Karnataka. Yeah. So this is the Karnataka border, and this green part is the Western Ghats. That is one of the hottest biodiversity hotspots of the world. And this is the landscape that we are all familiar with. I think this is the landscape that we rush to every time we need a break from the hustling and bustle of Bangalore. We do get there. The red lines show the critical wildlife corridors, which is this entire thing is actually one contiguous habitat. It is not that we look at that thing as saying, okay, this part is a forest, that part is a forest. No, it is like an entire thing. This is part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, actually, the Western Ghats. So why are we concerned about these projects? Bangalore is there. and Mekedatu, Yettinahole, Sharavati. So, do you see that these three projects are not just project sites? They're actually sites of ecological destruction and unsustainable water management. How can this be the solution to our water problems of Bangalore? How can we continue to be disconnected with such damaging projects proposed by our government? Why is there this disconnect? Tidlik, Bangalore, when will we be quenched of our thirst? Will we just suck all rivers dry, just remaining silent? Can we let this crisis continue? So this is a cartoon that I found, which depicts, it's Lakshman's cartoon, which depicts what we do in Bangalore, actually. So we get very good rainfall. In 2022, we had one of the best rainfalls. When we analyzed the rainfall in 120 years, that was one of the highest rainfall that we received. But look at 2023, when we didn't have rain, we were all clamoring for water. Why is that situation there? So why do we let our rainwater just get into the drains and then, struggle for, things saying, I want the water from here, I want water from there, dig the bore well deeper. Why this disconnect with solutions that are there in front of us, but we do not act? Contaminated waters. It's a silent crisis where we have contaminants like pharmaceuticals, forever chemicals, a lot of other things that, we have filled our lives with chemicals. They're making their way into rivers, into our lives. Yet, we have a disconnect with the awareness of this crisis and the action to prevent it. Why is there this disconnect? This is a funny cartoon that I found online saying, sometimes, I spoke to so many recently who thought Cauvery flows through Bangalore, actually. So that's the kind of disconnect we have. It's time we reconnect with our rivers and do something about it. Else, I don't think, we have any right to look at our children and say, I'm doing the right thing for you. So, yeah, this is where Pani.Earth comes. We, along with, there are many institutions which are in the water space in Bangalore. What's different about Pani is we are a citizen-led initiative. We work with support from our families, friends, and put all of this data together with a mission to empower all of you citizens and us with data, information, and analysis that can save rivers. We often, laugh about it, Nirmala, Nidhi, Kushbu, and I, that we have a dream. Can you believe it, what the dream is? We're looking at rivers flowing freely and unpolluted. And we know we may not see it in our generation, but we dream of a future generation seeing it. How do we make it happen? So we kind of first thing that I can remember is that how we pull each other's hair while doing all of this. So it's a bit of a task where we get data. So it's like running around government offices, RTI, scientific reports. So we rely on CDD, A-Tree. Then we have Dr. Divakar Parsi with us, who helps us with data. Then a lot of people that support us, and we rely on the scientific community. We do a lot of remote sensing. So we have applied all our engineering skills or different backgrounds, and we picked up data from satellite. We use that. We do primary research. Just last year we did a study where we studied the Arkavati sediments, and that was done with International Center for Clean Water in Chennai. And we could actually, the results are going to be coming out soon, but it was quite shocking to see what we found in the sediments of Arkavati River. We do a lot of analysis, dissemination, that's our website. Please do visit Pani.Earth if you haven't. That is where we have all these maps open source. If you would like to get the data behind it, please do reach out to us, we can help you with that. We engage with various stakeholders, whether it's, this was in Mandya where we were with the farmers, we go on river surveys. Then we also, work with the government, BWSSB, KSPCB, CWC, I mean, there are n number of agencies guarding our water, and that's the state of our rivers. But we engage with all of them. How do we make it happen? This is a moment that I want to take to thank all our family, friends, everybody. In fact, special mention to Venu, who helps us with this website. Actually, it would have not happened without his support. All our family who supports us, puts up with us just scooting away whenever we have to be at a pollution site or anywhere. We sincerely thank you for that. We wouldn't have been able to do this without all of you. I wanted to leave you with Jane Goodall, quote, which says that what you do makes a difference, but you have the choice to choose what difference you want to make. Rivers are not just water, they're more than just water. They are living systems which support so much life, not just us. It's time we understand that every choice you make has either heals or harms rivers. It's your choice. So it's time we reconnect with rivers and take action to protect them for the future. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So Madhuri and Nirmala, engineers. Nidhi, a dentist. And Khushbu, an academic. How did your paths cross?
Yeah, we all are coming from different backgrounds. And yeah, we share quite different personalities also. If I try to remember, it feels like it was very organic the way we came together. I met Nirmala when Dr. Yellappa had invited me to one of the plantations. This was back 6-7 years ago. And I met Nirmala and I understood she was trying to understand Vrishabhati River. And I got really curious that how or what exactly understanding Vrishabhati River or understanding the river system means. I was a dentist at that time and quite happy and working, but little curious. Eventually, I started going with Nirmala, and the very next day, Nirmala, when I called her, she says, we have to go to Birdi industrial area to do investigations. So I was very excited because I had never been to an industrial area before to do investigations. Eventually, we had done a webinar, and in that webinar, we met Madhuri. It felt very natural and it felt very correct to be together because we were seeing that we were having the compassion and the common interest that for the rivers and the water system. We kept on going back to Khushbu. She was a professor that time in GAT. And again, the link was Dr. Yellappa. We met through Dr. Yellappa only. But it feels like it was a matter of yesterday only. We just started. But when we were putting all of it together, it felt like, oh God, actually we have done a lot of things, which we are proud of. So yeah, now working together is really fun with these guys. Yes, scary also.
Thank you, Nidhi. So we saw in your presentation earlier that a data-driven approach is your distinctive approach. So what insights led you to believe that this is the most effective way to bring about change?
The significance of data dawned on us while we were working with 3 cases. One is with Lokayukta, the second was with the High Court of Karnataka, The third was with National Green Tribunal on the Bengaluru case. So I'll explain the first two. Lokayukta at the time had taken about 200 cases with regards to lake pollution and one with regards to Vrishabhavati river pollution. Before we came, the context was set in Lokayukta. The river Vrishabhavati is polluted because of the apartments alongside the river. Of course, that was not true. But then how do we set the Lokayukta, the right context? So we went back home. We drew the Vrishabhavati river basin on a kg cardboard. It was hand-drawn. So we marked the origin, we marked the confluence with Arkavati river, we identified the industrial areas, we identified the cities, towns, gram panchayats that were dumping waste into the river. We identified the quarries. Then the next day we took it to Lokayukta. Yellappa Reddy also was there with us during this process. And he's not there today because his book release, his biography is being released. He's our mentor in our early days. In the meeting, the Lokayukta gave us the opportunity to explain the map. As we explained the map, the Lokayukta understood it instantly. Right then and there, he passed an order asking Pollution Control Board to take consideration of the stressors, the pressures that we had mentioned in the map, and submit a detailed report. Subsequently, Pollution Control Board submitted a detailed report, and there was no mention of apartments in there. That was one of the honest reports that we have seen come out of Pollution Control Board. And the Lokayukta understood the significance of spatial data, the maps that we have put out there. What is a river, what is a stream, what is a lake, and how that connects to the whole river system. And he ordered the lakes of Bengaluru map be put up in the courtroom so that it could help him pass orders. So that's when we realized the power of data and how we bring it together to communicate in Lokayukta. The second case was in High Court. We took the report that was produced in Lokayukta by Pollution Control Board. We refined the Vrishabhavati river map. We used RTI to collect flow data, water quality data. We went on fact-finding missions all the time on the go, fact-finding missions. We brought it all together, combined it, put a strong case in High Court against Bayarmangla Dam diversion. Bayarmangla Dam diversion was in fact Vrishabhavati river diversion. The government wouldn't accept it, but the court was convinced. The court asked the government to write in a written affidavit that the project that they were doing, it was a 110 crore project that they were doing, was not a river diversion project. The government came back the next day and submitted that it was indeed a river diversion project, and subsequently the High Court issued a stay. That was in 2020, and even today the stay is in effect and the project is halted. So I don't have time for the Bengaluru case, but all of this laid the foundation for us to kind of have that distinctive data approach in the work that we do with Pani. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirmala. So my next question is for you, Khushbu. You are the youngest member of the Pani team. You started out in academia, moved to industry, and now you're in the non-profit space with Pani. So what inspired this shift to join Pani, and how has your journey been so far?
Okay, so two things: what inspired the shift and how has my journey been? Okay, so the shift clearly was non-availability of data in public forum. So as a researcher, I was going from pillar to post to all government departments to gather data on hydrology of Bengaluru, lakes of Bengaluru, the flow data and everything. And I would either get asked for money, that you have to pay so much to get the data, or like we will give you tomorrow, we will give you tomorrow, and delayed months together. But now I realize that all the data should have been open source and free. So that's the first time I used to ask people around me that this data should be open and available for citizens to, and as well as researchers. Basically, I was a researcher that time, so I was like talking for my community, why isn't data available for us? So that's when that trigger started. And I always was working with Nirmala, and she used to ask me a few questions about, can you give this map, or can you help us create that map? And I was like, okay, if you can use it because you're a citizen and the data is going out there, please use it. So that's when I understood that data availability, processing it, and making information available for citizens to ask the right questions is really important. So that's when I got the opportunity to join Pani. So I did join Pani, though that's how the shift happened. And I think more and more youngsters, tech savvy people are required even in conservation, environmental conservation space, whether it's the going to the root of the problem or perseverance that's required in research, all have a place in environmental conservation too. So I would love to see more and more people join us. And how has the journey been? People say time flies. I have experienced it. The work I do on day to day, it just feels like a flash when I look back. But it's like a lifetime also because of the kind of experiences I have had. I comb through the documents line by line, as well as talk to the farmers, lawyers, professors on ground. And whether it's learning to apply for RTI and getting the data, following it up, various experiences, it's just thrilling and exciting every day. So that's how it's been. Thank you.
Super. Thank you, Khushbu. So all of you must be having a range of experiences on this journey. Some would be exciting and some rather terrifying, I'm sure. So could you share some anecdotes from this journey?
Absolutely. I mean, we have a range of experiences, but I won't say, the flavor of whether it's terrifying, inspiring doesn't remain with us. I would, as soon as you asked about an experience, I can share. The first one is about a recent experience where we sat with Dr. Ravindra Shanbhog. He's a 70-plus-year-old man he was in Udupi. He has a foundation called the Human Rights Foundation and has been working for 40 years almost in the environmental space and beyond. It was extremely inspiring to be with him, to understand how he actually uses science and data to solve environmental issues. He was instrumental in banning endosulfan. You must have heard of the toxic pesticide, right? So he shared with us in detail about his scientific approach. I mean, what it kind of helped us was, it reaffirmed our conviction in our data-driven approach and our belief that we can bring change. And another thing that I want to share is, so we have a lot of learning experience like this, but something that I want to share, an experience that we have on our work. So it seemed challenging then, but now when I look back at it, a challenge once you face it head on, right? It doesn't seem like a challenge anymore. So it actually, we talk about it in an amusing way at home. I live right next to the Rishabhavati River. My home is right next to that. That's my connect with the river. This was during the COVID time when we would smell something very toxic every night. And we would wonder what the smell is. It would cause asthma for, my husband. And we would actually wake up in the night with that smell. It was terrible. But there was a lot of hustle and bustle in the community. I think we made some complaints, but nothing happened. I knocked on the door of KSPCB officials that I know, but no action was taken. A local guy actually who lives there, because there's a small lane on which this truck, that's what he tipped us off with, the information that a truck every day was going in the night, and after that the smell starts. It's a Bharat Petroleum big tanker, so nobody would even think that it has chemicals in it actually. So we decided that we'll catch them red-handed, and we had a group of, I think, in the WhatsApp group, about 25 people, another WhatsApp group. So What happened was I get a call at around 12 a.m. saying the tanker is spotted. Why don't you come? I was left with, I think, just myself and one more person on the WhatsApp group, and I had to take my husband along with me. So two more people with me joined, and we went there. Before going, there was this, I was just wondering, should I even do this? Should I just drop it? But I said, this can't continue. Yes, we are suffering, but this is the same water that keeps going down and flowing to the Cauvery too. I mean, how do we just be silent? So what do we do about it? So I kind of called the KSPCB official knowing that he won't pick up the phone, but I said, I'll try. He didn't pick up. Then I called the local policeman, somebody that I know through, he sees me wandering around next to the Rishabhavati river and he knows me. So he picked up the phone and he said, Madam, why don't you come there? I will take care of that. By the time I reached there, he tried to tell me that the truck is not there. Actually, you thought there's a truck. That's when I understood he was hand in glove with the entire thing. The truck was coming back, and I knew the truck was there because the local was continuously calling me, telling me that the truck is going to come back, be careful. I remember, that I had a racing heart, I think, then where I was wondering, what is the safety of the two people with me? Have I put them in danger, actually? So we were, with all those thoughts, the trucks arrive, the spotter car, the driver comes out and says, are you the one who's complaining about my thing? I had the mask, luckily COVID, so I don't think I would have remembered otherwise. So he kind of tried to come towards me. I said, okay, this is not a place to even talk about anything here. So I told the police guy saying, I took pictures of the truck vehicle number, everything. I said, I'll come tomorrow to the police station. And it was very difficult to sleep that night because I knew the size of the truck and I know the kind of pollution, that it could have caused because we do see a lot of that outside. Next day morning, the first thing, I think I called Nirmala at 6:30 in the morning, I think. And we met and we said, we have to go to the police station. And the challenging aspect there, the other experience is police stations. So the police officer is like, okay, you told me, now just get lost. Why do you need to stay here? It was quite challenging actually to maintain a cool and constantly being told that you're a criminal because they make you feel like a criminal. The driver of the truck was roaming around. We were constantly being questioned, and very good friends of ours had actually come in the evening because they need people who are witnesses, who have to be there. And there's some of them in this audience, and I really thank them for being there with us that day. And so these are the kind of, crazy, crazy experiences that happen for us. And fortunately, the satisfaction that we had was that stopped after that. But recently, again, the smell started. So it's, I think, time for me to put my boots on again. And some of you need to join me.
Your conviction is very inspiring. Thank you.
Madhuri says it very sweetly and she says it's not terrifying. I was there and it's absolutely terrifying. So I don't want to share any more terrifying stories. There are many more. But our work requires a lot of travel to go on the site and figure out what's happening. During those fact-finding missions, for example, if you go to Kanakpura, around the town, at one point we ran out of water. So we had to knock doors asking for water. And they just wouldn't entertain us. This happened multiple times in Kanakpura. Then you go up north to Dodbalapura. We wanted to use restrooms. So we knocked multiple houses, they would not. Then we also travel quite a bit in the Western Ghats. You go to Sagar, Sirsi, Sorba, Hosnagara, Udupi, Karkada, all that area. People are so welcoming. Malnad people, they welcome you very warmly into their homes. Of course, they give you water and allow you to use the restroom. They also give you food. And the next time you go, they take it very negatively if you want to stay in a lodge. So that's how warm those people are. Last month, we were doing a fact-finding mission in the Kali Tiger Reserve. And we were deep in the jungle along with the tribes trying to ascertain the status of Kali River and also to get at the origin of Kali River. It was almost 9:30 by the time we finished in the night. We had not eaten. And the villagers, the tribes, they just wouldn't let us go until they fed us. It's one of the best crab sukha I've had in my entire life. That's how amazing they are. So this generosity of the people in the mountains, and then you come to the cities, it is not there, is some of the experience that, and especially with water, which relates to the play that was there. You know, you come to our village, there's no water. Same thing as you travel. Thank you.
Thanks, Nirmala. So we've all seen horrifying images of Bangalore's rivers. Even earlier in the presentation, we saw the drone images of the Vrishabhavati River. So dealing with this on a daily basis must be overwhelming, isn't it? So how do you do it, and what keeps you motivated to go on and on and on?
Yes, we are humans. We do feel overwhelmed. It can become depressing at times. Before we have done presentations, it has become that audience has become depressed. That's why they act and play this time. But believe me, at the end of the day, when we come home back, it's the families who have supported us. For me personally, I feel my two daughters, for whom I feel I need to do something right. I need to do something which is making the world, which is where I am not there. It should be a better world then. That's the motivation thing. When I go home back and my husband knows my back is aching, he will be there, that bed is cleared and Nidhi can rest. I know when I am cranky and I'm not able to focus on the work, my team is there to support me, always. I recently took a 6-month break because I was having a constant backache and I was feeling quite low. I went to Tirthan Valley. Believe me, that river, oh my God, that valley was so beautiful. We could just go down, drink the water, and come back. The people of the mountains are really warm and welcoming. It was such a healing thing for me. And I went back and came back with full on energy with the team. I said, I need to work on this river because it's a unique river. It's a no-go river. Again, there the community came together to not let the dam build on that river. And it's a flourishing ecosystem. It inspired me. I felt, no, I want to make a whole map and the data set for these people, and the journey is still on.
Thanks, Nidhi, for sharing this experience. And I think a round of applause for all the families that are here today. So I think we have time for one last question before we throw it open to the audience. So what is the kind of impact and success that your work has had so far? And what are the milestones that you're really proud of?
Okay, so I get this question often. So, how many lakes did you rejuvenate in Bangalore? Or how many plogging events did you organize? Or how many plantation drives did you go in? So, these are all very important initiatives and activities which a lot of Bangaloreans are doing. Like, we have a very strong citizenry to focus on the lakes of Bangalore. But like the theme represent, there is a disconnect with the rivers. And bringing the science to activism, to ask, to create a space to understand the rivers, to question the right kinds of question to understand the river systems itself, we need a space to think. So I think any activity that we do, the insights that we get from our data analysis, the presentations that we do with the communities, the community engagements, the activities that we do with them is a milestone in itself, and success for Pani, at least for me. So having organization like Pani itself, which is citizen led by citizens and for citizens, is a success in itself for me. That's how I see it, and the impact of the organization. So think of a space or a society without Pani, and think of it with Pani. So the impact is visible.
So now is the space where we want to see if you all have any questions for us. Anything about a work or any thought that came to you guys.
I have a question. Are you just working with rivers in and around Bangalore, or are you looking at other rivers also?
So, I mean, yes, we're working on all rivers. As we had shown, right? I mean, recently we were in the Kali River Basin, Western Ghats, any river. But right now, our focus has been until now in the southern India. But with Nidhi's visit to Tirthan now, we are actually releasing a map of the Tirthan River Valley. Nidhi has worked on it with an intern that we got, Anarghya. She's a second year student at APU, and she has helped with that, and she's very quick to pick GIS skills. So we are working on all rivers. We don't have, I mean, every river is a lifeline, and we just don't have the bandwidth. So that's a call to action to say that, you know, we need more people to be doing this, because rivers are in a dire state and we don't have much time.
I'm sorry.
Like you stay close to Rishabhavati River, I stay close to the Rajakaluve passing through Koramangala. And have you studied the K100 exercise that is going on, and do you have any comment on it? Yesterday, the Hindu reported that they are planting, placing flower pots on the riverbed. I don't know how. How is it? I mean, what is your view of it? Have you done a study of it? Is it are they doing the right thing? I've written a blog on it.
I know, and you're going to get us in trouble now. No, we have not done an extensive study on K100 project. And I know once upon a time it was the Chief Secretary's pet project and a lot of money went into it. But one thing I do say in a general sense is that our stormwater drains should not have wastewater flowing in it. It must have the rainwater flowing in it. No amount of technology, no amount of money, no amount of flower pots, no amount of vetiver grass is going to, and concrete is going to fix that issue. This is just basic logic, common sense that they need to not be concretized. The waste should not get into our rivers, and as long as we can do that, we don't have to spend hundreds of crores on such projects. I will try to stop there, and I hope I was very diplomatic. Sorry, there was one question there.
Yeah, I was just asking, I heard Madhuri say about bandwidth. So how are you adjusting your bandwidth, both with the power, hands, and money?
Yeah, I didn't get the... Can you hold the mic closer, please?
Can you hear me clearly now? Yeah, I heard you're talking about the bandwidth. So how are you like adjusting your bandwidth with hands and money? Is it anywhere funded? And the people support. I don't think the Bangalore by itself been covered with very small people I see in the group. So how are you going to plan for the more number of people coming into, and the money that needed to support for all your travel, all your expenses?
Yeah, I mean,
See, the data is not free, I know. how difficult it's to get from anyone. Even coming to me, I'm not sitting here free for you, right? So how are you going to manage that?
I think I can talk about what we did till now. You know, I don't know. I don't think we even thought about money that much. Maybe it would be like we missed a vacation, or we would have missed, something for this. And I would say it's our families that have let us, in the sense, supported us with all of this. But I would like to call out, to a few funds that we got last year. There was this young kid who actually saw our work and supported us. That was our first funding, actually, that we received. We don't actively seek funding. I think what we also need is people actually who are passionate. Money will come, but it is the people who have to come in. RTI just costs 10 rupees, and then you go and get the data, it's another 500 rupees. So that's the amount of money that you would spend if you go to an Udupi, right? So money is not the thing. I mean, we do spend money, but I think that it's more passionate individuals who need to be here, because unless we are a larger community, the government is not going to care about us.
Yes, I agree. Money is an issue and it costs. I know she's very kind. It does cost us, and that's okay. I think that's what we intend to do with the resources that has been given to us. I do want to mention one incident though. Initially, even before Pani came into existence, we were kind of thinking about it. We did write a proposal for building the Vrishabhavati map that you see outside. And the proposal went to the very top NGO, whose name we all know. And in the final stage of the interview, I was presenting, and they said, everything is nice, but this is too big for the citizen to do. And ergo, we are not going to give you the money. This is the work that needs to be done either by a university like IISc or the government organization itself, not by you. So that depressed us for a few months, but then we turned around and learned the technology ourselves, put the money ourselves, and did what we did today. And we continue to do so.
Last question.
Hello? One question.
Just one last question. We don't have time.
Yeah, madam. For the Yettinahole project, right? How to convince the government it is not going to work? It means stop the similar project. That is one question. And do you have any supply and demand side water management solutions? Let's say in the name of environment, let's say they propose a 1 billion drop. Let's say some 10,000 recharge pit. You dig a pit in a baby in a park. Let's say target oriented. I'll put some 60 pits in a acre. It will conserve the water. Not doing any analysis on the hydrology, lithology, or fractures where the zone is there. Many of the intervention they do only number game. In this is how to convince the government. In this is simply doing in the name of environment doesn't solve the problem of the water scarcity of Bangalore. How do you have any larger solutions in terms of the supply and demand side management to address water security of Bangalore? Thank you.
Demand side, Yettinahole, I will speak in the concluding speech after the conversation, so I won't answer that. The second part of the question was, how do you convince the government is the question. I kind of lost some of the things in between, and demand side management. Definitely to address the problem here in Bangalore and not wanting to bring Yettinahole, we have to definitely do demand side management. And additionally, the transportation of water from Cauvery to Bangalore, there's about 40% loss. So we need to bring that to a very respectable average, less than 10%. So those are the savings that we need to look at instead of going 280 kilometers to Netravati River or to Sharavati River from Linganamakki Dam. And yes, these are big infrastructure projects where the policymakers and the decision makers, all of them get a cut. So it's very hard to, I mean, Yettinahole project is 27,000 crores. So that's a big ticket item. And especially it's a drinking water project, so they get their way with the drinking water project. I'm not sure that answered your question though, but I would need more time.
I can add some. So I think you asked about rainwater harvesting. Is that what it is? Yes, it does help. I mean, our community is an example of that. We harvest around 2 lakh liters of water. So it is possible, but I don't know about the projects that you're talking about where they just do it for the sake of it, like Manrega and all of these. But I think if communities get involved, you can actually look at how do we harvest rainwater, because it is a resource that's waiting to be tapped. The second thing is your your sewage. Can you look at solutions where you can actually use that treated wastewater in your community? There are examples of communities during the drought that we heard where they were all self-sufficient actually during that time. Can we all document about that, talk about it much more, and make that the norm in Bangalore? Because Bangalore can be self-sufficient. I mean, I don't know if you answered your question, but I think, yeah.
One more thing which I have observed is Bangalore gets on an alert only few months. There are May, June. 3 months is the time when we say that there is a drought situation, we need to conserve water, rainwater harvesting, and all these things. And rest of the time when the rain is coming and in the month of November, December, January, everybody is chilled out. I think it has to be a year-round thing. My God. It has to be a year-round thing. To conserve water, it's a year-round thing which we should see. And again, a case-specific thing cannot be said, but being alert of the use, it's not just for the month of May and June. And all the aerators have to be fixed only that time. And the rejected water of the RO has to be utilized only that time. So we have to be really cautious throughout the year, is what I wanted to put. I'll announce. So now Nirmala will have some concluding remarks, and this is the final culmination of our event. From my side and from the team side, Nirmala will thank everybody.